Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and it's time to talk about The Walking Dead. Okay, so if you guys remember, before the mid-season break, I was not particularly impressed with The Walking Dead. I felt like it was really going downhill in terms of storytelling and writing and just everything. I didn't care for it very much. A lot of you agree with me, some of you didn't. That's fine. So this week's episode was what some people are calling the best episode ever. I don't know if that's accurate. For me personally, I think the contenders for best episodes might be when Herschel got his haircut from the governor, or when Rick took a bite out of that guy. I liked those episodes. They seemed a little bit more well written, just more good storytelling, I think, whereas this one had a lot of flash, a lot of stuff happened, but I don't know if it was necessarily a particularly great episode. I mean, it was a good one, no major complaints. Anyway, it's hard for me to gauge this show. It seems like the fans are all about whatever is happening at the time. Like, they'll say, oh, this show isn't about all the action, it's about the storytelling, and that's what makes it good. And then when you get an episode, and I'm not referring to last night specifically, just in general, and then when you get an episode where it's all action and no storytelling, they love it. And then when they get an episode where it's all storytelling and no action, they love it. And then when you get an episode that doesn't have much of anything, they love it. So I don't know how to gauge the audience or how to gauge this show based on general opinion. So all I can do is tell you what I think, and then we can talk about that. So this episode, we saw a lot of flashy things, a lot of specific things happened, even though we didn't actually progress that much in the storyline. That's fine, because we had lots of little progressions that were actual progressions this time. So that was a good thing. So at the end of the last episode, we saw the whole Negan biker guys trying to stop the Ginger and Norman Reedus' character. What is it? Daryl. They're trying to stop Daryl and Sasha and take their stuff, which seemed pretty foreboding. And they wrapped that up quickly in this episode by Daryl being awesome, as Daryl always is, and blowing them up with a rocket launcher. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was kind of corny, the whole setup. Not corny, but like they were way too easygoing letting these guys take their stuff. They shouldn't have stopped in the first place. A bunch of bikers with guns parked in the road. Drive through them. But anyway, they didn't, just so that they could have Daryl blow them up. So I'll give them that. That was cool. I really liked that, especially Daryl calling those guys a bunch of assholes. That was funny. That was good. The finish to that setup was really good. So I like that. And then basically the rest of the episode is everybody at the city dealing with the walkers. Which is where we start to have some problems for me in this storyline. Sometimes in this show, you have people fighting zombies, and one-on-one, it's a struggle, okay? And if there's more than a few, they generally can't deal with it and run away or try to avoid it. And then sometimes, when it's convenient, they can take on thousands. I just want some consistency. That's all I want. By the end of this episode, they must have killed 1,000 zombies. And they didn't even have a plan or anything. They just went at it. We'll just go do it. And it worked. Which is fine if you're going to have consistency in every other instance. I mean, we've had people fight walkers with nothing but bones left and had trouble with it. And this time, they're fighting a whole herd of fairly normal-looking zombies, and it's fine. Nobody doing the fighting got hurt. I mean, not as far as we know yet. I mean, maybe we could have, turns out Carol got bit or something like that, because she didn't show up much in the fight scene. So, did anybody else notice that? It just seemed like it was awfully convenient that sometimes they can take on the zombies and sometimes they can't. Or for instance, and this is the part I'd really like to talk about, finally, Sam, that most annoying character out of any show ever, gets it, which is good that he's dead. But the whole premise for him dying, I thought it was not very well done at all. So you have Rick and everybody covered in the zombie sheets. Zombies aren't bothering them at all. Apparently, that's all that it takes, which is fine. They've done that before, so I'm okay with that. They're walking through. Sam has a little bit of a mental break. But he's being quiet. He's barely making any noise. He's standing there. He's not moving. So he's not drawing attention to himself. Everybody in the group is yelling, or at least talking, "Come on, Sam, we have to go. Let's go, let's go. Come on, come on." They're making noise. Sam's barely making any noise. And then out of the blue, zombies come up and bite him on the head. Why? Why did the zombies attack the kid? Did I miss something? Or did that just happen for story development? He wasn't doing anything to attract them. And then they bit him. It doesn't make any sense to me. Do you guys have an explanation? Or do you agree that that was just... like, what happened? Everybody is surrounding him except for this one blind spot behind him, making noise, telling him to let's go, let's go. He's standing there not saying much, still gets bit. I don't get it. Anyway, so let's go on from there, because this whole scene, even though it was generally a really good scene in terms of stuff happening, I think it was really poorly constructed. So let's break it down some more. So after he gets bit, his mom freaks out, which I get that he's dying and she's upset, but she's got another son and a baby, not hers, Rick's baby, and a bunch of other people in that situation. And instead of dealing with it, she starts screaming, which, okay, fine. She can't contain her emotions. I get that, kind of. So she gets got also. And then, during this, they're all holding hands. Somehow, as she's getting got, she develops a death grip on Carl, and Rick has to chop her hand off. That just seemed a little bit over the top, but okay, we'll let that slide. But in the commotion, after Carl finally breaks free, his gun falls out so conveniently out of his belt. Which, yes, putting a gun in your belt is not the best way to carry a gun, but the whole way that scene was shot, just kind of like, are we watching a Saturday morning cartoon? Did that gun just fall out conveniently like that for plot development? It seems like it did. And then, a couple minutes later, we find out that Ron, that kid, man, I'm glad he's gone. Ron, out of all this commotion, Ron just picks it up. He's got the awareness to pick the gun up while everybody else is freaking out. And he decides he's going to kill Rick finally because his stupid brother got bitten. And then his stupid mom got bitten. And his dad, who was a total jerk, got killed earlier. So he's going to kill Rick. And while this is happening, Michonne's standing behind him, not doing much, apparently, because she's not fighting zombies. Unless I didn't see that. Again, I could have missed it. She decides to finally kill Ron by stabbing him in the stomach, which wouldn't kill anybody instantly anyway, but she does that because it looked cool on camera. But it allows Ron to pull the trigger still, which doesn't hit Rick, and it hit, of course, Carl, because we were all expecting Carl to go blind in his one eye anyway at some point. So this finally happened. So that was cool. The special effects were cool, and that was good that Carl finally lost his eye. But to me, that whole scene with Sam and Ron and Jesse, the whole thing just felt really awkward to me. Did anybody else get that? I don't know. Maybe it's me. I guess it could be me. I don't think it is, but I guess it could be. So that whole scene felt a little awkward. But anyway, so they're making it through. They're having all these troubles with the zombies. And then we have the wolf guy just running around with the doctor, and apparently they are just like Solid Snake sneaking around, no trouble at all. No issues with the zombies until the very end when it's convenient again. It just needs to be more consistent for a show that's supposedly really, really good. There are a lot of really questionable things. So I guess if you can set all of those things aside, it's a good show. They just start to get to me. I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Let's finish this part up, though. Let's finish this episode up. The last thing that bothered me was the thing with Glenn. They set it up to look like Glenn was going to die again. I'm thinking they did that just to build up a little bit more of tenseness, I guess, suspense. But then he gets saved by somebody firing full auto at the zombies around him, which is fine, because, I mean, he's going to die either way. I mean, he's either going to get bitten, eaten, or maybe shot. So I get that from the person's shooting standpoint, but from the storytelling standpoint, there's no way Glenn wouldn't have been riddled with bullets. So I found that a little weird also, but I'm glad he didn't die. Looks like they might save Maggie. The whole fire lake thing, that felt awfully convenient also. But I don't know, for a good episode, there's a lot of questionable stuff in it. I'm sure most of you are going to say it was great and that I'm silly or dumb or stupid or whatever other rude things people say on the internet. I feel like this show is hyped up way more than it really deserves. It's a good episode, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like a storytelling masterpiece or anything like that, so I don't know. It was better than most of the rest, so that was a good thing, I guess. So, alright guys, I'll stop rambling. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what you think going forward. I'm curious about that, and we'll talk again next week in the next video. Thanks for watching.